If you know you're somebody who tends to overeat and you never stay full, that fat girl or that fat boy keeps talking to you,
say, hey, eat more, or finish your food.
This is the video for you.
Hey guys, my name is Michelle, Anita, Sarah, Julia, Peyton, Talia, Jazz, Marquita.
I'm a physique.
Product. Period. You love to see.
Y'all already know what this is. It is Trehunna from Physique Reset. Today, what we're gonna talk about is the best 5 tips I can provide to you to stop overeating. That is the root issue, not the food itself, is you overeating the foods that you like. Here are some tips that I can give to you so you can not only lose the weight, but keep it off. Especially if you're somebody who likes to emotionally eat, just like me, all right? So tip number 1, slow down when you are eating. So it's funny because we all met that one person where you're going out on a date, or just that one friend where y'all all order food together and you turn your head for about 30 seconds and then their plate is gone. It looked like they didn't order nothing at all. Probably didn't take a breath when they was eating. They just scarfed it all down. What you want to do is give yourself time when you are eating. And the best way you can do that, especially if you're out with your friends, is communicate while you're eating. Start talking while you're eating. When we was growing up, I don't know if you ever heard this, but my mom used to tell me at one point in time,
make sure you chew your food 30 times before you actually swallow.
Pause. And the main reason why, when you're actually digesting food, right, your body has 2 different type of hormones that your brain needs to pick up so it knows it's either picking up food or it's not receiving any food. This is ghrelin and this is leptin. Now, when you're actually digesting food and your body starts to pick up, hey, we're receiving some amino acids, we're starting to receive some fatty acids, your stomach is going to release something called leptin. And leptin actually goes up the vagus nerve to your brain and lets your brain know that, hey, there's actually some energy coming in and we're thinking we're going to be satiated, so you can stop being as hungry and you can start dropping down the hunger hormone, which is ghrelin. Ghrelin and leptin has an inverse relationship. Ghrelin is the thing that wants you to punch people in the face when you're hungry, and leptin is the thing that's saying, ooh, I'm stuffed, let me go ahead and unbuckle my pants. So you want to have more leptin in your system when you're eating. So that's why it is easy for people to overeat when they're just scarfing down food, especially when you're at that Mexican restaurant, you had that queso and chips, but that didn't keep you full. And then you have the fajitas, and then you have the dessert, and then you notice that you're overly stuffed. You probably just wasn't paying attention to how fast and how rapid you was eating your food. So just be mindful and make sure you are trying to space out how long it takes for you to finish that food. And another tip that I can give to you is make sure you eat the protein first, then eat your sides. And because you're eating your protein first, and protein is what keeps you fullest the longest, then you probably realize, okay, I have this rice right here. My favorite carb is rice, but I can't eat as much rice if I eat the protein first, opposed to if I start touching the rice first, and that's not gonna release enough leptin for my brain, which means what? I'm gonna eat everything in sight, opposed to me just eating the protein. Now, tip number 2, eat high volume food. So if you're somebody that work with me, you probably realize that
I say, hey, stop eating so much rice, eat more leafy greens.
Right? Eat more vegetables, eat more things with fiber. Why? Because these are high volume foods, which means that you can eat a lot more of this and get the exact same amount of calories than something that is small or miniature, such as a cookie. If you have 1 cup of rice, that's about 45 grams of carbs and about 200 calories, give or take. But now if you took that exact same 200 calories and you transferred it over to spinach or something like kale, I mean, it don't sound too fun, you know, even that mixed vegetable bag that you like to get from Bird's Eye, you'll realize that it kind of got the exact same amount of calories. The thing that's gonna make you feel like you're gonna be able to keep the weight off and for you to not keep gorging and keep scarfing food down is if you are actually full. That's why we also, as coaches or as nutritionists, if you have a nutritionist, that
hey, instead of you eating a whole lot of snacks, have more meals, because you're only snacking when you are hungry.
You're gonna realize people who usually got a lot of weight issues, these are people that classify themselves as snackers. And that's because you're holding yourself over for that meal. And you're not eating things that keep you full, but you're eating things that are calorically dense. You probably already ate 200 calories worth of popcorn, honey buns, that white macadamia nut cookie from Subway, but your body's not receiving the hormones necessary for you to stay satiated. And the name of the game is stay as full as possible, because people who usually overeat, you're just overeating calories, but you're eating the wrong type of calories. Tip number 3, eat high protein, high fat, but lower carbs. Why? Because it's harder for you to overeat things that came from the earth like this, opposed to the American version of it or the processed version of it. You're not eating chicken breast, you're eating honey barbecue chicken breast. You're not eating catfish, you're eating deep fried catfish. Taking the natural form of it and you're adding ingredients to it, now you're processing it. So that's why we even tell our clients,
hey, if you want some fruit, eat the fruit. Do not drink the fruit.
because inside a smoothie, you're gonna add a lot more things and a lot more ingredients that's gonna tally up that calorie count. That's gonna prevent you from seeing the scale drop. And hey, you're not considering that smoothie as a meal. Let's be real. You want to eat things that's gonna keep you full, and the thing that makes your body release the most amount of leptin is going to be protein source foods and fat based sources of foods. It can even be air fried, as long as it's not fried, battered, and it's dropping in grease that you haven't changed out for a whole entire decade. Technically, you're fine. So when people think of a diet, they're thinking,
Man, I have to eat everything bland. I have to eat baked chicken breast.
I can tell you one thing right now. If I had to eat baked chicken breast for me to lose the weight, I promise you right now, I would be on my 600-pound life. But I'm not. So it could be seared, it could be broiled, it could be that favorite Peruvian chicken spot you like. You can have rotisserie chicken, it can be blackened. There's so many other variations of making food taste good without the calories, without it being fried. I promise you, you just gotta give it a shot. Have more protein based foods, have more fat based foods. Do not have a lot of carb based foods, because when you're having a lot of carb based foods, it's gonna make your glucose levels spike. And then once your glucose levels spike, your body naturally, or your brain, is going to want to taper it down to the point where now you're hypoglycemic, now you're getting hungry again. Tip number 4, and this is the best tip I can give to you right now, I'll just be honest with you. Do not wait until you're starving for you to eat. That is the worst thing you can possibly do. What I tell my clients when they are about to go out to a restaurant, I tell them, hey, instead of you going to that restaurant starving yourself to death, what I want you to do is have a good meal. It might be a smaller meal, but have a good meal 3 hours before it happens. Why? Because we already have an association with the restaurant. If you're like me, I'm fighting myself tooth and nail for me not to touch that bread when it first come out. And now if I'm hungry, I promise you I'm touching that bread. Now it's a matter of how many slices I'm having. And now my judgment goes out the window, because now your amygdala is being revved up, because your brain is saying,
Hey, we didn't eat nothing all day long. We need calories now. I don't know what the hell you had me doing earlier, but we need it now.
so now you're just taking in anything, and now you're not gonna follow the protocol that you're on. Listen to your body. And if you're hungry, right, then that means 9 times out of 10, you waited too long for you to eat. Simple. So have something that is protein based, no non-protein shake. Have an actual smaller meal if you need to get your day going. Have a yogurt, and then maybe put some protein powder in that. That way you are eating your protein, which means what? That means you're gonna stay full, you're gonna be more satiated, because your stomach is actually getting stretched out, and your mechanoreceptors is actually picking up that, hey, this person's actually eating. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So if you're going out to a restaurant, look at that menu before you set foot in that restaurant. That way you can follow the protocol that you're on, and always eat a couple hours before, versus you telling yourself, hey, I already know I'm gonna wild out at this restaurant later. I'm gonna fast the whole entire day until I get to this restaurant. I promise you, you're not gonna get the results that you want, because you're going to wild out. And one thing that can actually aid in that is drink more water. Kind of simple, right? But actually drink water, because some of these artificial sweeteners is gonna make your body CPIR, which stands for cephalic phase of insulin response. And what that's gonna do is gonna kind of start the engines, or start revving up your hunger, because your body is expecting calories because it just tasted something sweet. So if you're drinking a little bit more water throughout the day, now you're kind of stretching out your stomach, and your stomach is thinking that,
Hey, we are receiving something.
because our stomach is being stretched out, you're gonna be able to extend how long you can go without food. Drink more alkaline water, because when you're actually getting hungry, your body's looking for electrolytes, not really the food. We just happen to get majority of our electrolytes from food. So drink more essential water, drink more smart water, or in my case, for the taste, drink more Fiji water. That will actually help you extend your fast longer than you think. Tip number 5, You already heard me say something about have more proteins and have more fats. Have less sugar. So when you are consuming sugar, you're literally gonna put your body in a glucose roller coaster. So the more sugar you have in your system, the more your body has to release a hormone called insulin. And what insulin does is going to shuttle this glucose out the system, because sugar at a certain threshold, which we usually pass on the average day as Americans, is going to be toxic for your body. It's literally going to start rusting and corroding your arteries and veins, etc. Literally. Too much sugar causes dementia. Too much sugar causes high blood pressure. Too much sugar causes diabetes. Simple. So we need to have less of this. And if we're going to have it, it needs to be sugar that's come with fiber, which means that we're not having a lot of processed versions of sugar. We're not having a lot of table sugar. Our sugar's coming from things like fruits. So if you have less sugar, then you're going to realize that you're not going to be as hungry. But the days that you start off your day with that Starbucks or a sweet drink or even some coconut water, you probably realize that I am a little bit hungry throughout the day. And because you're somebody who probably don't have the time to eat 2 to 3 times a day, you gotta wait until your lunch break or wait till you get home. You are just picking up a lot of snacks throughout the day. And once again, if you're a snacker, you're gonna be somebody who's on average gonna have weight issues. Make sure you're snacking less by eating more meals. And the best way for you to adhere to your own protocol is for you to have less sugar in general. All right, so sugar is not the worst thing in the world, but sugar is definitely not going to help you lose weight. I can promise you that. All right, now the last tip I can give to you is if you are somebody who's really trying to lose weight, but you're also somebody who is new to the gym, let's focus on not doing a lot of high intensity interval training. Let's focus on you just doing weights and you going for walks. Let's start moving smarter and not moving harder. Why? Because when you're doing high intensity workouts, when you're going for that jog, Zumba class, when you're doing Orange Theory, all my clients that tell me about Orange Theory, they're telling me like, yo, I'm over here sweating profusely. You know, what you're doing is your body is burning a lot of calories. Let's not get it twisted. But now you're burning a lot of glycogen. And glycogen is the stored form of carbohydrates. And when you're burning a lot of glycogen, your body naturally wants to replace that. Because A, not only burn a lot of glycogen when you did a hard workout, but B, you also stress your body out. And when your body is stressed out and it's releasing sugar into the system, guess what your body's naturally gonna wanna do? It's gonna wanna get that sugar back and put it back into that muscle. So this will be the time where you're basically telling yourself or justifying,
hey man, I had that hard workout. You know what sounds good? I need some fries. Or I need that apple pie.
So what you need to do is work smarter until your body is acclimated and adjusted to you working out. Believe it or not, when you're lifting weights, you're not burning as much calories as you think. But what you're doing is you're investing into the future. So analogy I like to tell my clients, when you're lifting weights, that's like you investing into the stock market. You're not expecting a return tomorrow. You're not expecting a return next week, but give it a year, give it 5 years. Now you're gonna see that $100 turn to $200 or $500. And hopefully you build enough muscle to the point you have to literally do less cardio in the back end or when you get older. And because you are not burning yourself out, then your body naturally is not gonna force you to overeat. And once again, just to give it to you straight, you want to have more high volume foods. You wanna talk while you eat. Drink a little bit more water, not flavored water, regular straight up water. You want to have high protein or high fat meals because now your brain is actually gonna release the hormones that's gonna keep you satiated. Don't wait until you're starving to eat. Have less sugar, that way you're not going through that glucose roller coaster. And last but not least, make sure you're not doing a crazy workout because best believe your body's gonna want to recompensate that energy some form, in some fashion. And if you are doing walking, that's aerobic exercise, which means what? Your body's burning fat. Instead of your body reverting to glycolysis, which means now your body's looking for glucose for energy. And guess where we get glucose from? Some fries. Alright, that's your reset tip of the day. That's gonna help you stay snatched all the time. Know the summertime. Talk to you soon.